Hey everybody, Drew Dinkmeyer of DailyRoto here, continuing our 2019 NFL DFS Optimizer tutorial series. This tutorial video will focus on Shuffle and Volatility, two features that we have in our projections and in our optimizer to help diversify your lineups. So what we're going to do is I'm going to start by just running the optimizer with 20 vanilla optimized lineups. These are just using our projections, no exposure limits whatsoever, no shuffle, no volatility, no groups. What you'll see with these lineups is you will see a hefty amount of overlap, right? Because the optimizer is simply choosing whoever is the best value at the individual positions and the highest projections to get the optimal lineup on the whole. So with 20 lineups, what you will see is you will see 100% Nick Chubb, 100% DJ Moore, 100% Greg Olsen, a lot of Christian McCaffrey as well. You'll see these heavy ownership levels on these guys. And one of the ways to potentially ease some of that clumping of the projections together is through the use of the shuffle button. So what the shuffle does is it just makes it simply a little bit less likely for players to get in your lineup on each individual run. So we'll start with, you can pick a number from 0 to 100 here. These are all kind of on a scale. So we'll start at 20 and we'll simply see what the optimizer looks like with shuffling at 20 at every individual position. What you should see here is some of those players that were in the 100% range in terms of their overall ownership are brought down considerably. And so as you see here, you start to see with 20 shuffle, we go, Greg Olsen goes from 100% down to 50%, Nick Chubb goes from 100% down to 60%, so on and so forth. So what that does by shuffling a little bit more is you get a little bit more diversity in your lineups. The higher the shuffle, the more spread out the overall exposures. There's no necessarily right answer to the number of shuffle that you want to use on a given lineup set or lineup runs. You simply want to play and test with the information as you go. So I'm going to reset the shuffle back to 0. Now we're going to talk about volatility. Volatility, very simply, is a percentage change to the projection, plus or minus, that's going to give a range for the projections. So for example, if we put in a volatility of 10% on every position, and again, you can do all these adjustments by position if you'd like, or you can do them all at once, which I've done here. 10%, let's say for Saquon Barkley, 10% of 20.4 would be 2.04 fantasy points, right? So what this is going to do is it's going to take a range of now Saquon Barkley's projection from from 18.36 to 22.44. That range, any number within that range can be used for the projection set, and every additional lineup that's going to be created from there is going to be picking a new number from that player's range. This range that we've chosen is plus or minus 10% their current projection. You can see that filled out here in the volatility column. You can either choose to do that globally by the positions or by all, or individual players that you may feel have substantial volatility in their upside or downside, like a Tyreek Hill, big play type receivers. You can manually input their volatility alone. But we're going to run 20 lineups here with the increased volatility, no shuffle on. So what this is going to do is you're still going to see projections align somewhat closer to the overall optimal lineups, but you're going to get a little bit of diversity from the straight optimal lineups simply because the players are going to be using the projections are going to be using a range of the projections each time. So you can see in this instance, Greg Olsen's exposure comes down to 85%, Christian McCaffrey's down to 45%, but Nick Chubb's still stays at 100% here. So these are two of the tools that we can use to help diversify lineups, along with uniques is another way to diversify lineups. And that would be simply here down in your uniques by saying every lineup that I have created, I want to have blank number of players different than the previous lineup. We have been creating lineups with just one unique. But all of these are ways to create different diversification within your lineups, and on the volatility side of things, also to account for higher variance players should you want to account for them. So that's a quick tutorial on how to use volatility, shuffle, and a little bit of uniques, talking about how to diversify your lineups. Hopefully this is a useful tip and you can get comfortable using shuffle and volatility as part of your decision-making process during the course of the NFL season.